Picture two blokes, both 54, standing in the same checkout queue at Bunnings on a Saturday morning. Same trade, same money, about 110 grand each. Same super balance, near enough, same suburb, same two kids, same dog. From the outside, you genuinely could not pick them apart. But 10 years from now, one of them retires comfortable, mows his own lawn, and never looks at a price tag at the servo again. And the other one is 64, still pulling shifts, doing the sums in the car park before he goes in, working out which bill he can push to next month. Same start, two completely different finishes. And here's the thing that'll get you the difference. Didn't happen at 64. It happened quietly right now, in their 50s, through a handful of traps that nobody warned you about until you're already standing in one. If you're in your 50s and you've got a creeping feeling that the clock started ticking louder on your money, that's not you being dramatic. That feeling is real, and it's not your fault. Your 50s are the decade where the money mistakes you can usually get away with at 35 suddenly cost you a retirement because there's less time left to fix them. So let's do the real math, not the glossy fantasy. And look, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a bloke who watched mates walk into these one after another and reckons someone should draw you the map before you step in. Quick one while I'm here, this whole video is general information, not financial advice. It doesn't know your situation, so for that, have a chat with someone licensed. Every number I throw at you comes from real sources, the ABS, CoreLogic, the RBA, and they're popped in the description. Stick around, because the trap that catches the most people is number 2, and almost nobody sees it coming. G'day, I'm Davo, right? Here's the picture I want you to hold the whole way through. Your 50s are like the last stretch of a long bushwalk before you hit camp. The track's mostly behind you, but it's also the stretch where one wrong turn costs you the most because there's no time left to walk it back before dark. Every trap I'm about to show you is a wrong turn that looks completely harmless when you take it. So let's walk it together and I'll point out the holes. Number 10, the lifestyle creep that sneaks in right when you're earning the most you ever will. Your 50s are usually your peak earning years. The mortgage is smaller, the pay is the biggest it's been, and slowly, the spending quietly rises to swallow every extra dollar. Better wine, nicer car, the good coffee machine. None of it feels reckless. That's the trap. It never feels like a mistake. It feels like you finally arrived. Picture a bloke I'll call Gaza. Gaza got a 15 grand pay rise at 51 and felt like a king for about a fortnight. Then somehow he's not saving a cent more than he was before. The whole raise just evaporated into a slightly fancier life. Here's the maths that stings. That 15 grand a year, if it went into investments instead of upgrades, at a 7% return, and I'll flag that, 7% is illustrative, just for the sums over the 15 years to retirement, that's not 15 grand. With compounding, it's roughly close to 400 grand. The way to sidestep it isn't to live like a monk, it's just to bank the raise before you ever feel it. Lift your savings the day the pay rises, not your spending. You won't miss what never hit your account. Number 9, going all in on the kid's house deposit and draining your own retirement to do it. This one's brutal because it comes from love, not stupidity. The bank of mom and dad. Property prices in this country have gone mad. CoreLogic's had the median dwelling well over 800 grand nationally, and in Sydney, it's been past $1 million. So the kids genuinely can't get in without a leg up. And you want to help. Of course you do. But here's where it goes wrong. There's a mom I'll call Denise who pulled 60 grand out of her own nest egg at 56 to top up her daughter's deposit. Lovely thing to do. But that 60 grand was the very money that had the most years left to grow for Denise's own retirement. The honest catch, nobody says out loud, your kids have got 30, 40 years to recover from a smaller deposit. You have got maybe 10 years to recover from a smaller retirement. You cannot get a loan for your old age. So the way to sidestep it isn't to never help. It's to only ever give what you've genuinely got spare after your own retirement's sorted, not the money your future self is quietly counting on. Number 8, the renovation on the house you're about to leave. Somewhere in your 50s, the kids move out, the place feels too big, and you decide the fix is a 40 grand kitchen and a new ensuite. Picture a couple I'll call the Castellanos. Beautiful reno at 58, sold the place at 63 to downsize, got back maybe 40 cents in the dollar on the reno when it sold. The trap is renovating for a life stage you're walking out of, not into. The honest version, renovate a home you're staying in, sure, but if you can already feel the downsize coming, you're spending big money on a kitchen the next owner picks the bench top for. Sidestep it by being honest about the timeline. Is this for the next 20 years or the next 3? The maths only works on the long stay. Number 7, the status car on a novated lease. Right when you should be parking money, not parking a Prado. Look, I love a good ute as much as the next bloke. But in your 50s, there's a particular pull. You've worked hard, you want something nice, and the lease makes it feel almost free. It is not free. A new car loses a big chunk of its value the moment you drive it off the lot broadly. You're looking at something like a fifth of its value gone in year 1 and well over half by year 5. That's the rough industry pattern. Picture a bloke I'll call Waza on his second 60 grand four-wheel drive in 5 years, telling everyone the lease is a tax thing. He's renting status by the month and calling it smart. Thomas Stanley, who wrote The Millionaire Next Door, Real Bloke, decades of research found the typical millionaire spends about 1% of their wealth on their car, and a lot of them drive a Toyota, not a Beamer. The sidestep isn't deprivation. It's buying a car a couple of years old, holding it 10, and letting the difference compound. That's not a car you're giving up. That's a chunk of your retirement you're choosing to keep. Number 6, under-insuring at the exact moment your family can least afford a hit. This is the quiet one. In your 50s, the income protection feels expensive, the kids are nearly grown, so people quietly let cover lapse to save a few bucks a month. And most of the time, nothing happens. But picture a bloke I'll call Dev, 55, dropped his income protection to save 80 bucks a month, then did his back and couldn't work for 14 months. The 80 bucks he saved cost him a year and a bit of wages he had no way to replace. The trap is that insurance feels like a waste right up until the day it's the only thing standing between you and your super. I'm not telling you what cover to hold. That's a conversation for you and someone licensed who knows your numbers. But the sidestep is simple. Don't drop the cover that protects your income in the very decade your income is doing, the heaviest lifting it'll ever do. Write quick honesty check before we hit the big ones. If you're sitting there thinking, Davo, I'm 56 and I've already stepped in 3 of these, stop. That feeling is not a reason to give up. It's the whole reason this stuff is worth fixing now instead of at 64. You've still got time. Less of it, but enough. Sit with that and let's keep walking. Number 5, the holiday house that owns you instead of the other way around. The dream is gorgeous. A little place at the coast, the grandkids come up, you potter. The reality for a lot of people is a second mortgage, council rates twice over, insurance that's gone through the roof in flood and fire zones, maintenance, and a place you actually use about 4 weekends a year. Picture a couple I'll call the Whitlocks who bought the beach shack at 59 and spent the next 4 years working harder to feed a house they barely slept in. The trap is buying a lifestyle you have to keep working to afford in the exact decade you wanted to start working less. The honest catch sometimes, it's wonderful and it's worth every cent. But run the real numbers first. The rates, the insurance, the upkeep, the interest. Divided by the nights, you'll genuinely use it. Sometimes renting someone else's beach house 12 weekends a year is a tenth of the cost and none of the headache. Number 4, going all conservative way too early or panic chasing risky returns to catch up. This one's a trap with 2 doors and people in their 50s walk into one or the other. Door 1, you get spooked, shift everything to cash and the safest stuff going. At 53, feels responsible. But you might have 30 plus years of life left to fund, and money parked too safe for too long can quietly get eaten by the cost of living going up. Door 2 is worse, you feel behind, so you go chasing some hot tips, some this'll catch me up punt, and you put money you can't afford to lose into something you don't understand. Picture a bloke I'll call Sanjay, who at 57 and feeling behind, tipped a big slice of his savings into a mate's sure thing. It was not a sure thing. Now, I am not telling you what mix to hold. There's no ticker coming, no product. That's not what this channel does, and honestly, it'd be illegal for me to tell you what to buy. The sidestep is the boring middle. Match how you hold your money to when you'll actually need it, and never bet the retirement on a feeling. If a thing promises to catch you up fast, it can sink you just as fast. Number 3, gray divorce, and what it does to a nest egg built for one household, suddenly funding two. Nobody wants to talk about this one, but the ABS has had divorce rates among over 50s climbing for years. Separating later in life is genuinely more common than it used to be. And the money side is unforgiving. One home, one super pool, one set of savings now has to stretch across 2 homes, 2 sets of bills, 2 retirements. Picture a couple I'll call Lou and Therese, both 58, who split amicably, no villains, just grew apart and woke up to find the comfortable retirement they'd built for one roof simply did not stretch to 2. The trap isn't the divorce itself, it's that almost nobody plans for the financial maths of it until they're in it. I'm not going to pretend I can spreadsheet your way out of a marriage ending. Some of this is life, not numbers. But the honest, practical bit, if you're heading that way, get clear-eyed financial and legal advice early, before decisions get made in the heat of it. The fork in the road costs the most when you take it angry. Number 2, and here's the one I warned you about, the trap that catches the most people without them ever knowing. I'll just work till 70. It sounds like a plan. It is mostly a hope. People in their 50s quietly bank on extra working years to make the sums work. I'll just keep going. I'll top it up later. But here's what the data won't let you ignore. A big chunk of Aussies end up retiring earlier than they planned, and not because they chose to redundancy, their own health, or having to care for a partner or a parent. So the mass you built on working till 70 can collapse on a Tuesday when a manager calls you into a room, or a doctor does. Picture a bloke I'll call Frank who was dead certain he'd work till 70. Made redundant at 61, never found anything close to the same pay again. His whole retirement plan had a load-bearing assumption that just walked out the door. This is the trap that hides, because it never feels like a decision, it feels like a plan. The sidestep is to build your numbers so that retiring at 60 is okay and working longer is a bonus, not the bridge holding the whole thing up. Plan for the early finish you might not choose. Hope for the long one. And number 1, the most expensive trap of the lot, hiding in plain sight, the one with no bottom to it, helping the adult kids forever. This is the deepest hole because, like the deposit one, it comes straight from the heart, but this one doesn't end at a deposit. It's the phone bill that's still on your plan at 28, the car you cover, the rent you quietly top up, the just till they're on their feet, that's been 5 years. Picture a mom I'll call Gail who, at 60, was still putting $2,000 a month toward 2 grown kids and could not for the life of her work out why her own savings never moved. $2,000 a month is $24,000 a year. That is more than a lot of people manage to save for their entire retirement in a year, going straight back out the door. The honest catch, and I'll say it gently because I get it, helping your kids feels like love, and sometimes it absolutely is. But endless help can quietly hand them your retirement and rob them of learning to stand. The sidestep isn't to cut them off cold, it's to make the help a finish line, not a tap left running. A clear amount, a clear end date, said out loud and kept. So let's bring the whole walk back together. Those 2 blokes at the Bunnings checkout, same trade, same money, same super, same dog. The only difference, the entire difference between the comfortable one and the one doing sums in the car park was which of these traps they quietly walked into in their 50s and which ones they spotted in time to step around. And notice almost none of it was about earning more. It was about not bleeding out what they already had through 10 little holes that each felt completely reasonable on the day. If the maths of your 50s feels impossible right now, it's probably not you. It's that nobody hands you this map until you're already lost on the track. If you want the whole thing laid out properly, every one of these traps with the real numbers beside it, the way I draw it for you on a beer coaster, I've put it all in a little guide. It's linked down below. No pressure, no hard sell. It'll be there whenever you want it. One boring sentence, and it's the only one in the whole video. I'm not a financial advisor, and this is general information, not financial advice for your situation. They're just patterns with real numbers attached. Take what's useful and leave the rest. 10 years from now, that money you protected in your 50s is either quietly funding the life you want, or you're working around the lack of it in a car park somewhere doing sums. I know which version I'd rather be living, and I reckon you do too. Next one. I'll show you exactly what to do with your money in the 5 years right before you retire the run home. Drop me a comment and tell me which of these 10 you've already stepped in or which one nearly got you. I read every single one, genuinely. And remember, look after your money and it'll look after you. I'm Davo. Catch you next one.